The nostalgia creates the hype, which creates the scarcity or the feeling of scarcity at launch, which caused a lot of people to line up and whatnot. And then some people are questioning like why, because when you look at the physical specs or the physicality of this device, it may seem inferior to all of these other gaming handhelds that are out there. Yes, and in some ways, no, right? You're locked in. Oh, you can't play this game unless you have this console. You don't get these features unless you have this console. Unless you continue to upgrade and continue to pay us your money and continue to stay within our walled garden. That is the reality of console gameplay. You too. Now, let's start off by just being straight up, right? Nintendo products are fun, right? The Switch 2, going to the Wii U and going into the Wii. The Wii is the foundation of like that new essence of gaming when it became, oh, we had these, controllers that incorporated physical movement and then a family or group oriented setting to have fun together, which is fire, right? And then Nintendo has a staple going back to a nostalgic reach with a lot of people. My first gaming handheld, first console were from Nintendo, right? Migrated into Sega Genesis, then into Sony PlayStations, had a few Xboxes, all the way into PC gaming, right? The Switch 2, there's a lot of things we gotta point out about this thing because there's a lot of mixed feelings and mixed opinions, and rightfully so because some of them are validated, some of them I think need a little bit more clarity. And we're gonna get into that. But it's been some days with this thing. I put in some hours of gaming. I still got more hours to put in, obviously, in days and whatnots. But I will continue to update you guys as more information, more updates come out, and more things are available around this console. Some things that are a wake up about this is you got all of these great features that were announced, like VRR, 120, refresh rates and so forth. But then people are finding out at launch, like with most systems, only so much is available, or it wasn't as available as you would think. Now, VRR is only available on the handheld on this screen. When you put it in dock mode, which is crazy because that's the most powerful mode, you lose the capability of VRR. Hopefully they update this and correct this with a software update in the future. But if I put it in my most powerful mode and I'm on my most powerful playing environment, which is on my 4K screen, I should be able to have VRR. Another reality that you're gonna have with the Switch 2 coming from the Switch OLED or even the Switch 1 is that the fundamental usage of it is a Switch. And there's no innovative or separations from the Switch 2 to the Switch OLED or Switch, like literally. Now, again, these are very good refinements, like better screen, better refresh rate, more power under the hood. But like, let's just say, okay, this new mouse feature, right? That you can use this as a mouse, as you guys can see. Now, this mouse, capability or usage is only sparingly available. It's not like just across the platform capable, you know what I mean? So even at launch right now, obviously, again, it's at launch, you're not able to use that on a ton of titles, right? Here's what I want to say about that. There's another handheld that, kind of took the whole Switch inspiration and made these, detachable. They're not Joy-Cons, but yeah, I don't know what to call them since they're not Joy-Cons, but the Legion Go, right, has a stand, and it's very much similar to a Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a window PC gaming handheld. A lot more power under the hood, a lot more capabilities in the sense of power, and you also get that Joy-Con feel. But not only that, there is a mouse feature on this right here. I flip this switch, and then add this attachment to it. It's magnetic, as you guys can see, very well designed. And then this gives you a mouse to use, and you get like this trigger style, right? So you're, playing the game, mouse clicks and everything, boom, boom, boom. And then it's like a trigger too, which is cool for like FPS. So they call this FPS mode, but it's also essentially a mouse mode, right? Now let's be real. Obviously, Lenovo got inspiration from the Switch here, right, with this. But when it came to that mouse feature, I feel like Nintendo got inspiration from the Legion Go. But the Legion Go did it better as far as the implementation full on from an innovative perspective of the mouse feature, which is really cool, that FPS mode. Mouse mode is cool though, but it's still not really much to grip on. That's another thing with the Switch being still the same Switch. There's no ergonomic attempt to make these handles or the grip of the Switch all in all more ergonomic, which would have probably given you more to grab or grasp when using this mouse mode right here, right? In a positive light, this is not a bash piece, this is a reality piece. Switch 1 games that used to struggle on the original Switch are running a lot smoother and a lot more like consistent, locked frame rates. Now that's not in every title. If the title is very CPU bound, then, you know, not so much. I've seen a lot of Switch 1 titles that were struggling to run at a constant frame rate, like lock in at a lock 30 or a lock 60 and so forth. So major positive for that. As far as it making things look better and all that, the game and the development would have to be optimized to take care of this to actually see that resolution boost. Now, speaking of resolution boost, on a super positive note, the screen on here, the clarity, the crispness, like on my first initial video, I spoke about this and I can speak about it more. This screen looks really good. Again, it's an LCD and it's not an OLED as everyone would say, but come on, you guys know the playbook. Regular Switch, Switch OLED. Switch 2 regular, there's gonna be a Switch 2 OLED more than likely. Come on now. You know, y'all know how these consoles work. We're gonna get more into that whole console concept. Just hold on to that. I promise you I got a reality bomb to drop on that. Screen on here looks great. And when you use Mario Kart World, which takes advantage of that nice 4K, it looks amazing. It looks really good on your 4K television. But man, it looks really good. Like, I give props to that, okay? But fundamentally, it's still a Switch. So fundamentally, you know, are you missing out on much? It's really up to you and if these refinements actually like equal something new for you. Now, there are a lot of pending updates. Like I said, the mouse feature isn't on everything. Oh, it's coming. You know, Fortnite's supposed to be bringing in it and so forth. So everything is coming and rolling out. That's just how it goes. When you get on the hype train early, oh, you gonna be on that hype train, and you are the beta testers, essentially. This is very much a Nintendo console. If you love Nintendo and you're all about Nintendo and that's your option or that's where you choose the Nintendo at, then the Switch 2 is offering that in a more refined way, but it's not fundamentally different. And here's a better way to put it, right? The PlayStation 5, when it came out, if they didn't have this, it would have been like, was the controller. This is the DualSense Edge. I'm talking about the regular DualSense controller. But these adaptive triggers and the new haptics and all of that, like, you add it to the gaming experience. It's very much innovative, and I like it. Yet, CJ, you like it, but you primarily game on PC. More on that in just a little bit. So a lot of people are finding out, even when they plug their Switch 2 to their dock and on their screen, that Mario Kart World is locked at 4K 60. Of course, like you, I would have loved to see Mario Kart World run at 120 FPS. If you're gonna advertise the 120 FPS frame rate and you go into dock mode, which has the fan, it's supposed to be bringing out all of this, you know, of course. But no, 4K 60. So as I said earlier, the Switch 2 is not a huge separator, especially not from the Switch OLED or the Switch 1. This is all about good refinements. So the likelihood of you liking or loving or hating the Switch 2 is based strictly off your expectations. 8 years is a long time to get something that's very much, you know what I mean, same flat back, a new stand, okay, a faster, you know, SD card express, obviously faster hardware. I mean, come on, it's been 8 years, you better have something under that. Fundamentally the same Switch vibe and feel, and even at the menu, everything just feels familiar, which, did y'all even try to give a new experience? You know what I mean? It's been 8 years. And this is where we come to this point where, let's be honest, you guys. Consoles are nothing more than gaming PCs, right? All of the components, the basis of it is a PC. These are all computers, right? Different GPU, different CPU, right? But at the end of the day, these are all computers. These are all gaming PCs. They're just branded under, you know, a console, a Nintendo this, or a Sony PlayStation this, or an Xbox this. fundamentally, these are all gaming PC, gaming handhelds, or even like the Steam Deck. The only thing that makes a console are its exclusive games. You eliminate that, you make Steam available on everything, 100% access to your games, no matter what console you're on or whatever. You get 100% access to your uploads and your saves without any issues. You don't have to worry about, oh, I can only play Mario Kart World if I get a Switch 2 and not if I have a Switch 1 or a Switch OLED type of stuff. You know, you get less locked into these walled gardens. These are these invisible walled gardens that surround consoles, kind of like the Apple, you know, of mobile tech space. Console loyalty, which, hey, if that's where you are and you're happy, so be it. But, you know, there's a reality that you can get a Steam Deck, which is fundamentally a better handheld than this. I need to get a Steam Deck on the channel. I got you guys coming really soon, especially to discuss this point and bring it home even further. Better handheld, and let's be real, probably not as much power under the hood. I've seen some comparisons. The Switch 2 is rendering like Cyberpunk better than you would on the Steam Deck, but now you have Steam Deck licensing and coming out with like the Legion Go S that has Steam Deck, you know what I mean, with the Z2 Extreme in it, or things like that. So again, I buy my games. I don't have to pay a subscription fee to play online. I just have to have internet, right? Something PC gamers love, okay? I build my PC. As long as I got internet, I got access to my games. A Steam library that's accessible no matter if I'm on a Steam Deck or even one of these handheld gaming PCs. If I get on my actual Windows custom PC build or whatnot, I can access that same Steam library. It's mine. I have consistent access to it, and I can access all of my saves. In the Mario world, Nintendo world, or in the console world even more, you're locked in. Oh, you can't play this game unless you have this console. You don't get these features unless you have this console. Unless you continue to upgrade and continue to pay us your money and continue to stay within our walled garden. That is the reality of console gameplay. And this is an observation as someone who's a primary PC gamer, just kind of like, this is where I think PC gamers are like, yo, telling console people like, y'all are kind of in a guard or a wall in there. Y'all paying every month on every console, right? You got to pay Nintendo a subscription. I'm paying a PlayStation subscription. And then there is Xbox Game Pass. That's 3 console subscriptions to play online, to have access to the online gaming servers. And I don't have to pay that on not one of my gaming PC-based products. I got gaming laptops. I got gaming PC handhelds, all of these different individual items. I can build 6, 7, 8 custom PCs, and not on one of those do I have to add an additional cost on top of my, internet service provider. I know, I'm ranting, I'm venting, but it's just a reality to think about, right? The Switch 2, a lot of mixed opinions about this. Anytime something first released, most of these consoles, a lot of times when it's not the new revolution, like the Switch 1 when it first dropped, okay, we were on to something new. We can take our Nintendo console on the go with us. Perfect timing, perfect switch up from the, Wii U and that whole concept to taking it portable. Boom. Okay, then we got the Switch OLED, okay, better screen. Now, 8 years later, Switch 2. And it's like, okay, refinements. A refinement console. The gaming side too. Oh my gosh. The game pricing along with the game, everything's technically digital. Even when you get a physical, it's just a download key. It's getting complicated, right? And it's getting more and more like PC gaming, because these are PC games. These are PC consoles. These are PC. You get what I'm trying to say. Everyone's like, oh, on PC, everything's digital. I want my physicals. Well, physicals aren't physicals anymore. So what's stopping us? Oh, exclusive games. Yeah, that's the catch. So again, if you are a Nintendo fan, boy, fan, girl, or Nintendo fan in general, you love their exclusive titles, and you are content with that, the Switch 2 is just a normal upgrade in your progression. Now, I'm seeing a lot of Nintendo fans They, even though they are Nintendo fanboys and fangirls and fans in general, they're like, I don't like this. I don't like the price increase in the games, the price increase of the console, the lack of innovation, the lack of new feeling. When you use this, it feels no different. I feel no different than these other two Switch consoles in no way. So from the Switch to the Switch OLED to the Switch 2, it's a very consistent feel. That's why I said the fundamentals are essentially the same. And when you use the cartridges, it's a lot slower. If you put that digital download onto the micro SD Express, it's the second fastest. And if you use that physical cartridge that you think is a physical cartridge, these are virtual game cards now, is the slowest. So what is the benefit? You're a collector, you want the cases and all that. Boom, that's your benefit. That's your thing. That's your thing. Collectors will collect. Nintendo fans will be fans, and the cycle shall continue. Unless.
Yeah, let's see how you do under pressure.
All right. Real quick though, my personal opinion after playing on this thing for the last couple of days, I actually like it. I like the clarity, the improvement on the screen. I like how well it looks on my 4K Sony TV. I like the improvements, the refinements, but I don't feel anything new, if that makes sense. Like kinda, but not really. And that's what a lot of people are feeling.
Yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra. Work with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than